I'm doing my Gianni impression. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for coming out on this sad, lonely Monday night. But you ain't got to be lonely. You're here with us. Let me just introduce my esteemed
Come
colleagues
on.
really quick. We got Mr. Goins producing the show tonight. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
No problem. I know we
Ew,
don't have
ew, ew,
music in the
ew.
beginning, but we'll fix that next show.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Listen, all you doing is spotting up. You spotting up. You catching and
Listen,
shooting. That's all you doing,
listen,
Brian.
catch and shoot. Pull that shit, Brian. Let it go.
Okay.
That's all you
Come
doing.
on.
That's all
Hamish.
you
As long
doing.
as I'm better than G for when he produced Hangover Time last week.
I
Doesn't
mean,
take much.
Well,
oh, we're not doing that, Brian.
we're
We
not.
miss you, G. We miss you, G. Uh,
Do we
you see,
really?
uh, oh,
Oh,
oh. We got my girl. We got my girl here. Bond, as everybody calls her. I call her Shy, but Shy, say what's up to the people.
What's up? Hi, Carla Tiana. Hey, people. What's up? Tiff, Franky, Beat, Goins. This feels like a good one. Let's have a good time. We
And
do miss you. Listen, y'all gonna back up off my boss, okay?
right, we missed
Cut
you.
it
We missed
out.
you. And I
He's a
got my
punching
guy.
bag.
What they call you, Frankie? 2K coach extraordinaire. Is that what they call
God,
you? That's what
I
the
hate
streets
that
is
nickname.
saying.
Bro,
The
I
when
hate
was
streets
the
that
is
last
nickname.
time
saying.
you played 2K? When's the
I
last time
have
you played
not
2K?
played
Honestly.
2K since like LeBron was probably on the Heat. I think the last
Bro,
time I played
that's
2K.
like 10 years ago.
I know.
Listen, and don't be mad. Frankie doesn't have his official mic, so he talking to y'all through a wind tunnel, but we gonna make it work.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
We gonna
I'm gonna
make it
sell
work.
some shit today.
So let's go ahead and get this on and popping. So first things first. Just to let y'all know, this show is basically hard truths and expectations. So we about to get all y'all agendas in line. We about to just basically kind of just shake it up and wake up the folks. Cause I'm tired of some of y'all on the timeline. Like I really am. But y'all know me. I keep it 100. And I mean I don't let y'all bother me. But some people down and bothered. So we
Listen,
gonna get it together today. That's what we gonna do. So let's just kick it off. Topic number one. Let's be real, y'all. Let's talk about these expectations that we have, other people have, and are they being met? The expectations for the starters, the expectations for the bench. Take it in for a second, but I'm gonna lead this off with Frankie. Frankie, let's go ahead and let you lead this off.
The starters have been about what I expected. They, I thought it was flawed from the start to just have Tyler as a starter and not make any changes. I didn't think it made sense to have Kyle and Tyler together, and Caleb, because now you had to put Caleb at point of attack. You had to move Kyle onto bigs or Jimmy onto bigs, and already you're at a disadvantage because you're playing small from the get go, and now you have to play extra small because your four is guarding ones.
Right,
So
right.
with just giving Tyler that spot, and that extension, I was one who said they probably should have waited. Helped their flexibility. They could have made more trades. I feel like if they
Hmm.
had Tyler at his rookie salary instead of the cap
yeah.
mystery that
Right.
is that rookie extension, the difficulties that
Poison
happens.
pill provision.
Yeah, the poison pill. Um, it just made things a lot more difficult for them. But with no moves made, I figured they'd be good against some matchups, but they'd have issues against good teams, and they've shown
Hmm.
that they're just that. They're good against bad teams, and they have issues against good teams.
Right. So before I go to Bond, Brian, can you just explain what the poison pill is to the audience?
So it's just a provision that the NBA put for rookie extension contracts only. So it's for any salary that basically is on the last year of the rookie. So rookies are able to sign extensions leading up to the final year of their rookie deal. They have to sign it before the start of the new NBA season of their final year on their NBA contract. If
Hmm.
they sign it like Tyler did for his 4 year, I think I don't know how many $100 million he made, but he made a lot of money. Basically, the NBA takes that number plus the final year of his contract. So it'd be
Hmm.
5 years at 100 and I'll tell the exact amount that he's making right now.
I think it was like
But
130.
yeah, something like that. And they basically average it out for those 5 seasons.
Hmm.
And they average it out only for trade purposes. So it's not
Okay.
like he's making that much this season. He's still making a rookie salary
Right.
this year. His contract doesn't kick until next season. But yeah, he signed a 4-year, $120 million contract with 10 million incentives. So they're going to take the incentives right now because they don't know if he's going to reach them or not. So it'd be basically 130 million on top of what he's making this season, which I think on his final year of this contract, he was making close to 7 million.
Okay.
Making 5.7 this season. So 5.7 plus 130. So to average out to about 136, you divide it by 5. That's basically the amount that would have to be sent out in a trade to another team that they would have to have the space or flexibility to take that in if you were to trade Tyler Hero. And then Miami
What's that? What was that number again, Brian?
Be like 136 divided by 5. I mean, I can give you an exact number, but it's kind of
I thought you said it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
it's about 27 million. Give or take,
Okay.
27 million.
Yeah.
That's how much he would have to be sent out to another team that they would have to absorb into either their space or they have to make flexibility by trading out other contracts to take him in. But Miami would only be able to send out 5 million or 5.7, basically his rookie salary of that, meaning a difference of about $21 million that Miami basically would have to find a way for another team to have that in space if they were to just send them out. So that's kind of hard to trade match because normally trade matches are within. You can trade match up to about 10% and you can make that work. But when you're talking about, 3 times his current salary, 4 times his current salary almost, that becomes very difficult in terms of trade matching, which is why I said the only options for trading him at this point would probably be sending him to a team that has cap space, which Indiana doesn't have cap space anymore now that they signed Miles Turner to his extension because they basically ate up whatever money they had left in cap space to re-sign him to a 3-year extension or 2-year extension. And they averaged it out with this year included, and then they brought it down 40%. So it's like crazy what they did. It's not a really common extension that's ever happened in NBA before, especially to that degree. But basically, the only team I could think of that could take in Tyler and make it still trade him, because he's still trade eligible, is San Antonio. And I don't know if they would really want to take in Tyler's salary for what he's making, especially if they're trying to tank too.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Okay. All right. So basically what you just told us, he ain't going nowhere this year.
No,
okay.
Next year.
Just so y'all know, in layman's terms, Brian just broke it down. He ain't going nowhere. So let's put that on the back burner. All right. Now, let's carry back on to where we were. Bond. Let's kind of talk about where Franky left off with the expectations.
Yeah, for someone like myself, they are pretty much kind of right around where I expected them to be. Some things look a little worse than I think I expected it to be. And
wait,
I'm
just
surprised.
let me interrupt one second. Hold that. We're not trading Tyler, just so you know. But that if you were looking to make a big trade, that's the guy you're trading. Like you have no one else to trade. You're not trading Bam. You're not trading Jimmy. That's the reason why that discussion was had. But we're not trading Tyler, nor is he going anywhere right now. So this is where we are.
Yeah, they're about right where I kind of expected them to be. Like I said, some things look a little worse than I thought they might. Some things I'm a little surprised by. I am surprised by the poor shooting, but I'm kind of not, because I saw what this roster was this year. I know what I believe the roster to have been at its heart last year, and you didn't make any moves. You lost a key cog. You moved 2 people out of your bench into your starters, so your starters needed time to adjust. Your bench is still in flux. They just kind of started to figure it out. I know there's some bench discussion later, but I collectively, I think they're about maybe right where I thought they would be. Bam looks really good. I love the way that he looks. I think I'm most surprised by his consistency. What feels like consistent enough for him to continue to do the things that he's doing. People don't want him taking that shot. You have to shoot that shot, or you're going to keep getting like Brooke Lopez staring in your face, or just all of these drop bigs who were like flat out disrespecting that man and stymieing the offense. The defense, I expected to be a bit tighter. I know some of these numbers say what these numbers say, but like, what it is, fuck some of them, at least some of them numbers. It's a lot of their shell defenses are continuously getting penetrated. We're overhelping a lot. I'm happy to see that they're starting to do some different things. I wish they would have pulled out of some things a little bit earlier. So all in all, for me, I think as a unit, I would say they're like maybe about like 82% where I kind of expected them to be. And then that other 18% is I thought I wanted the defense to look a little crisper, and some of the offensive stuff I am myself surprised by. But all in all, I'm not. I've
Right.
been real with who I felt this roster was, what these players are, and there's no disrespect to them. It's just the makeup, it's just the moves, it's just the
Right.
Caleb and Tyler, and like it's a lot. And some of the writing was on the wall last year. I do think that there is something to the idea that maybe we let or people let themselves be. Bam does deserve knockdown shooters, and I think he still has some. I'm less worried about the shooting than I am personally about some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think some people were a little too felt a little too comfortable with the we lost by one shot. Nah, one shot would have got you there, but you didn't lose by one shot.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, they're about right where me personally, I kind of thought that they might be.
Hmm. It's interesting.
Aesthetically, it's not what I expected.
No,
Aesthetically, but again, that's some of the offense. Like you know,
I think they're all the way where I thought they were going to be.
fair.
I never bought in. I thought they could, I thought, what did I say to you? What did I say to you, Bon? I thought they'd probably be a fifth seed, sixth seed.
Yeah, somewhere at
So,
5'6".
um, but it's the way that they got there that's a
That's the part
little
that
bit
is the surprising to me.
right.
That's
To
the
me,
like,
the way,
damn.
because I look at this team and it's like, you already know you've got like four players that are going to miss X amount of games. You should know this
You knew
already.
that
As a
coming
Heat fan,
into.
there's no reason to be crying about injuries. We already knew this. You look at the makeup, all the players that have been injured are the players that are always injured. This is just who this team is. So I took that into consideration. I took
And
into
then with that, on top of
consideration.
that, Tiff, on top of that, you have injuries now to some of your secondary guys. You have Gabe with injuries. You have
Uh huh.
Max with some overuse stuff. So
Yep. Yeah. So I took that into consideration. I also took into consideration you are hedging your bets on a player who's been severely injured for 2 years, almost 3 years,
yeah,
I guess. Vic, you decide to take two of your bench players and put them in the starting lineup without adding to the bench.
that's what I've been.
Um, so all these things I already took into consideration. Like I wasn't fooled. Like I didn't think that like miraculously Caleb was gonna grow 6 inches. Like all these things, like I didn't think that was gonna happen. I think for me though, um, more concerning, like you said, I'm honestly the shooting is what it is. I'm not worried about that right now. There are
I'm
multiple ways
not.
to score in the game besides hoisting up threes, which
Come on,
they need to figure that part out. Um,
come on.
I think what I'm more concerned about is that you 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 hedged your bets on a starting lineup that realistically, and y'all know, I don't care what the numbers say, they don't look good. They don't look good together. I don't care if they win or if they lose. It is not pleasing to the eye, and it is not without having to scrap every single point. That's not how it's supposed to be. Not every night.
to
Every night is not supposed to be a dogfight.
It's not.
to your point about them like hedging their bets, it's like they shot their best shot immediately. Like even if
Yeah,
you and again, it's not just Tyler, it's Tyler, Caleb. It's not buttressing the bench with some other stuff. Even if that's kind of the I don't know, maybe, but you couldn't predict for Vic. Now I understand that that was a big part of it early on, but it's like you put like your what was supposed to be the best machination of yourself that was
right,
presented on the table, and then
right,
I know all the injuries, and now everyone's back healthy, and it's going to take time, but it's like damn, this was what was supposed to be like our best shot with this group, or our kind of peak configuration, and
right,
it's gotten off to this kind of choppy of a start.
right. Before we get to your breakdowns, I want to touch a little bit on because we talk. I have to. Thank
Bless
you.
you.
Woo.
Plus,
Um, let's touch a little bit on the bench before we do get
mhm, mhm.
to your breakdowns, because it's an interesting unit. You know, it's not conventional. If you really look at the main five pieces, it's not really conventional. Um, but I feel like they play conventional. I feel like the way that they play together, it
Hmm.
doesn't give us room for give them room actually to use what their best skill sets are. Am I wrong? Am I right? Tell me what you guys see when they're out there.
Um, I see a lot less of the diversity that they had. They had so I get the conventional thing you're talking about.
You're talking about
Uh,
the bench, right?
yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
bench.
Yes. Okay.
So like last year there was a lot of versatility. Guys would step in, two-way guys would step in. Everybody, it was just plug and play all year. And because of the injuries, because of guys moving up in their roles and nobody there to replace them, it's kind of been like, hey, you're mopping the floor, stack the shelves too. Hey, also throw out the trash, also do this, and it's like, and it's no shock to anybody who's paying attention that why they're breaking down, why they're not doing the things they do normally do well, why
Mm-hmm.
those are all falling apart. So like why Bam's defense is taking a step back is because he's got to plug more holes than usual. He's got Gabe's shooting and inconsistencies, not only because of injuries, but it's just because of role. He has no cohesion. There's no cohesion, like Carlitiana says, with the bench and with the starters and stuff. Like you see
Max.
flashes and stuff. Max, another one who has to guard 3 through 5
There
and
was a
not well.
Frankie. There was a stretch in the season he had run the fifth most miles in the NBA.
And he was playing at 40 minutes and pulling up,
Yeah.
running pick and roll. Like those, they're not comfortably in their roles, and those, you've seen Max and Kyle for a long stretch of the season have been paying for those early minutes
Yeah.
where they didn't couldn't pick up a 10-day guy. They couldn't, Spo didn't trust Orlando Robinson or Jamal Kane yet, of the two-way guys. Drew Smith didn't get
Right.
enough run, like,
Who
and
is
when they
Nikola
did,
Jovic?
Nikola Jovic is getting DMPs when they're running
Where?
between guys.
Who is he? I don't never heard of her.
But those are your main additions, is the two new two-way
Right.
guys. You have Jovic, and you couldn't trust Spo, didn't trust any of them early on, and that's on the front office and Spo to have some mismatched communication, because you got to get, you guys, the coach is going to have a vision. Yeah, by this point Spo's been coaching with the Heat since '07, since '08, '09. He's been the head coach. You know the type of guys he likes. You know what
Right.
he wants to run. And if you don't by this point, that you're not good at your jobs. You know the athletes, you know the defense, you know the versatility that he wants to run, and what he needs. And you didn't do your job in getting those that archetype for him. And
I
you
don't
get
know. He had some help in it too, Frankie. He
no,
making some decisions on
he
personnel
definitely does.
too.
He definitely does. He definitely has a say in it. But like I don't think Spo doesn't have a say in the front office and getting stuff. But I don't put it on him, because that's not his main
Right.
job.
It's
His
not
main
his
job is
job.
to coach
Right.
what he's
Right.
got. He
Right.
Right.
has input, but
Exactly.
it's not,
Right.
he doesn't have any
He's not the
Exactly.
final say.
final boss. He ain't the
Yeah,
final
Right.
exactly.
boss. You know.
But I think he definitely has like the bench just, I can't be mad at them because they're all miscast. They're
Right.
everybody on the roster pretty much is miscast. And they need to do a lot better,
Right.
what with moves with, I don't think I don't think on the roster there is something that they can mix and match and get them right. Um I'm not a fan of I haven't been a fan of moving Tyler to the bench all season, just because you're gonna commit that money to him. You need to invest in him. You're invested in him financially. It's got to work. It's got to work. Him and the starters has to work, because you're not paying him all that money and investing that much of your cap and your future into him being a perennial six man of the year. That's not realistic. You need to
Well,
know.
maybe you shouldn't have so soon.
I I mean, that's what I was saying in the
Just a
beginning.
comment. I
We were
know.
talking about that
I,
in the early season,
yeah.
Right.
but yeah, that's the
I
thing.
know.
Like you have to take what you have. If you didn't make any changes, so you have to try things. Yeah, we talked about this early on in the season. You got to try things. You see Bam trying shooting more, being more
Right.
invested in the offense. You see guys being miscast. but that's part of it. You got to find what they're good at, what they can do. You got to try
Right.
different things. It hasn't all been pretty. Partly also because you're dealing with a lot of guys who are 25 and undrafted and not a lot of athleticism, so there's not a lot of ceiling on a lot of these guys.
I think
Come on.
Go ahead.
so, and I agree with that fully. And this goes back to like when I was in junior high playing basketball. And when I was, when I was in the sixth grade, I never touched a basketball in my life. And I decided I was going to play. And I remember one time the starters were playing like shit. So the coach said, all right, I don't even know y'all names. Y'all five get in there. And that's what it was, right? So we got in there. I think we were down by like 20. We got in there. We cut it to like 7. Took everybody out. 4 minutes left. Put the starters back in. We lost by
Yep.
20. So
That's what's not
here's
supposed to happen.
that's what's not supposed to happen. So here's how I look at the Heat in a nutshell. You're only as good as your star. Either they're gonna go down and help you come back out, or they're gonna realize they ain't got it and you gonna bring it home. It was a long, long time ago. Long time ago. Um,
The the disrespect.
it is. It's very disrespectful. She owed me for that. But the thing is that we keep looking and we keep looking for something to happen as to the bench isn't supposed to win you games every night. That's not, they're supposed to just be steady with the occasional, oh, damn, I can't believe Gabe did that. That's what that's supposed to be. We're we can't we can't continue down the road and say we suck because these 5 guys sitting on the bench that suck and 3 of them are making 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Would you like no, because I'm at the point where I want to say all these things. For instance, does
Come on.
anybody know that last year's shooting from Max was actually the anomaly? That wasn't real. That wasn't real life. He's never shot that well in his life. He actually has never shot over what 35%. I do believe.
I don't think
that
he ever
was,
shot 40% even in college. What I've
that's the
read.
point. That's why I said his
Life.
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 I mean life. I mean
Life.
I
Whole
mean,
thing.
what was he? What was he? D3 and DePaul? Never.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
the fact that we're crying that he ain't shooting well, he never shot that well. Last year was the anomaly. Last year was where, you know how it says everything needs to go right? Everything went right for them, except for Kyle and Max's hamstring in game 7. Other than that, everything else went right for them. That doesn't happen all the time. Basketball ends up being about skill and will.
Yep.
Like you can't always pray for
Skill,
things
will,
to,
and athletes and height. Like
it's
you
not gonna
cannot.
always bounce your way. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at it this way. We got 4 starters who should have won that game last night. And I don't care what y'all think.
I
I don't
still
care
ain't
what
watched it
anybody in the
yet.
chat says. But your 4 starters and Kyle, Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler, they were supposed to win that game. I don't care what nobody else did. I don't care. I don't care if Gabe got 5 fouls in 3 minutes. I don't care. You had enough. You had enough, but y'all really let Mason Plumlee play in y'all face. So that's what I'm mad about.
Well,
Like,
well.
let's just be real. So on that note, I'm gonna come back to you. But on that note, I want Brian to get ready for your
Yeah.
breakdowns because I think we're about to get into something. So Brian, master of ceremony, whenever you're ready.
All right.
Okay. So, all right. So we're talking about. You can pause it, Brian. So I got 6. We got 3 offense and 3 defense. These are all from the Boston game. I had some stuff from the Orlando game, and in the Orlando game, they actually corrected some of these things. I didn't watch last night, but these are issues that have kind of presented themselves all season. Frankie, Tiff, jump in when you want to, when you feel it. So we talk a lot about like their kind of lack of like dynamicism. Like there's nothing kind of happening when stuff is happening on one side. There's you don't get the PJ Pennants, the hammers, stuff like that. So go ahead, Brian. When they do kind of creative things, which they kind of been doing recently, pause. So you have this kind of double screen set up for Tyler. And also out of it, Max is gonna back screen for Bam. Bam's gonna roll. Max is gonna fly to this left block. Tyler can kind of pop in this area over here. Go ahead. Tyler can get in this pocket right here. That's that screen. Max pop out here. Bam, dive. Pause. And so now you have like the stretching of kind of everything that's happening in the middle. Dude in the corner is aware he has one, but also he has something happening here. You can't cheat all too far over off on Hamish. So go ahead. And Bam doesn't even roll hard. Like he kind of just trots. And later in the game, Gabe takes a little dribble and he makes that lob and it's a dunk, but that's a good shot. And so like when they have kind of like multiple actions simultaneously or just whatever, things kind of look good. But when they don't, you can go to the next one. I like pause. So like basketball for me, the court, things happen in shapes, like things happen in like chunks of space. So you have like blocks, you have pockets or circles, like that pocket Tyler could have pulled up into the last clip, and then like things that kind of present themselves in almost kind of triangular faces. And the key is to like get into those shapes of space as directly kind of as possible. Miami plays around the outside of their space. So go ahead. We get this kind of pause. So this is how this kind of, it's tight, right? Like everyone is kind of close, but there is space there. Go ahead. They even managed to stretch it out a little bit more. Go ahead, Brian. They get it a little bit further away from the basket and stretch it out a little bit more. Pause, right? So Max comes off. He makes a good decision and go ahead. This is how they most tend to utilize kind of slashing into that space. They look at a lot of lobs, but when they don't, or when the lob's not there, then you kind of just have them kind of flowing without, I don't know, some kind of like intentionality. And then last one for the offense. And then we don't always pass into the space. I don't know, pause. I don't know what it is with Tyler and his role then, but he has to find some level of comfort with someone other than Bam. And his role men also have to do a better job at putting themselves in places where Tyler can feel comfortable getting it to him. So go ahead. Either you're going to penetrate into this space, you're going to lob into this space, or you're going to pause, or you're going to look at this whole like right side. Orlando could space a little bit more, but we don't know what Orlando's touch is. Kind of not even. I'm not talking from three. I'm talking mid range. This is why these are the types of shot that Bam would probably should want to take. Space out here a little bit, but like that's what I'm saying. We go away from it. We play into the crowd. Tyler's always refusing screens and dribbling right back into places of defense. When we see Tyler refuse the screen, our corner person to just stay there and won't clear out until like the last minute. And then so some stuff defensively. So y'all have pause. Y'all got anything about that offensively? Like,
you know, it's the same thing over and over. The last play, like you just showed, we had the whole side of the floor cleared. Like you said, we don't know if Orlando is comfortable with the 15-foot jump shot, or maybe he could have rounded it out his run into that open space, got the hand up, get fouled, get a lob, get a foul, get something going towards the basket. But yet we kind of do nothing, and then we settle for the contested three.
It's like we don't put our bodies into space, but we also don't move the ball into space. Right. So like it's just
everything's on the ball. Everything besides the first play, everything's on the ball. If there's nothing off the ball, every action is something towards the ball, a screen, a handoff. It's always something. Another thing I noticed: every play started at 14 seconds. They take so long to get into offense. Yep. You have 24 seconds. You waste 10 seconds just getting into your play, and then by the time you run anything, there's 4 seconds left, and you have to take a quick shot. If the defense blows anything up, you're taking a contested shot.
Yep.
So, love everything you guys said. Fully agree. Defensively, right? We were talking in the group chat about like we generate a lot of turnovers. We get things out in transition. Defensively, are we some mid without having generated some of these turnovers? And I don't know that the answer is yes or no, but I know where our holes are. I know where I would poke at other teams' holes if someone ran a zone on us a little while ago, and I hated the way we approached it. As much zone as we play, our zone offense is not sophisticated enough at all. And so, this Boston game, there are like genuinely like 7 plays back to back to back of just middle pick and roll or like horns action. And they're just shooting a person into their pocket of space. And every time we are reacting in some way differently, and Jason Tatum read the fuck out of it this whole game. These are all just from the first half. So go ahead, Brian. I hit pause. I had skipped I got like 7 of these. These are 3. The first few he passed off. Dudes penetrated. He had people to kick out to didn't. So he's coming off the screen. Go ahead. And then just the space. Like, you just pause. You just get a body. Vic had to react because there have been plays where that's been Tyler on this wing, and Tyler has reacted late. They run stuff on the opposite side of Tyler to bring it back to his side, so he is the help man. Again, there are 7 plays in this series. I might post this later. This is like 4 of the 7. I think the next 2 are. What is this? Oh, yeah, this is. I'm not sure why this is kind of at the end of this here, or why it's playing so choppy. Some like offense is not a great offensive possession. Cool. We're getting into the defense. Or I'm sorry, I'm not sure what this is. Keep going. I know the defense is at the end of it. Same thing. Space here offensively if we want to. No. Dribbling into tightness. We come back down defensively. Look, just solid Orlando. Rebound, put back. But again, they come back defensively, and it's the same variation of what they've been doing. Go ahead.
That was the last clip that we had. So those were the 7 I think you had sent me.
No, I'm not sure what happened there. I sent you 6, but yeah, like they've had some issues offensively, and they've had some issues defensively. The man has been issues at time. They tried to buffer it and go to kind of their zone. The only zone that kind of works for them is that awkward like 1-1-2-1 that I call, and so they just. I don't know. They've had stuff. Again, this is all from the Boston game. They've corrected some stuff I didn't watch last night, but this is just some of the stuff I've seen. I have so much shit that I just haven't done anything with.
Yeah, I think last night there were a lot of defensive lapses. There were way more than we would normally see.
The whole game was a defensive lapse.
It was. But I also just think that, like, you just gotta figure out a way. You gotta figure out a way to just get more. And I keep saying, and especially if this is what it is, you got to figure out how to get more. I keep saying to Bon in our chats that the first thing I keep seeing from fans on Twitter, we got 3 players averaging 20 points, and we're still not winning.
And we're still not scoring well.
Well, and points have to be no, it's not a lot. And points have to be effective.
Yeah.
Like
impactful. People out here putting up buckets that I don't feel. Like, damn, pinch me.
Right. Like
there's 100 guys averaging 20 in the league right now. Like
right. Well, and it's also kind of like when are players getting these points? Are players getting these points because they're stopping runs? Like, when do these points come throughout the course of the game? Because for the large part, they're not impactful. If it was impactful, you would have won yesterday. Like, this is how it is. Like, you're not stopping runs. You're not making the defense fear you, which is
the defense
also
isn't reacting to the scoring is the problem.
Right.
They're like, go ahead, Tyler, shoot. Go ahead, Bam, shoot that mid range. Go ahead. The one thing we've seen recently is them doubling hard at Jimmy to disrupt them. That we've seen it since the Mavs game, and the Heat still haven't really figured out a consistent formula to counter it. Right. They're struggling. They kick it out, and I know this drives Siobhan crazy, but they kick it back out and they hold and let the defense reset. You just
Right,
sent two
right,
to the ball. We kick it out. We have an advantage of 4-on-3, and we're gonna let them
right.
go play
Move
a
it.
4-on-4 back.
Yep,
We're
yep.
so slow at that, and
Well,
that's also on guys not being in the right positions. You should have it's a guy like the double's coming. I need to have somebody there who's gonna be able to attack the 4-on-3. Like
Right,
it's Golden State. Golden State doesn't put Kevon Looney in there when the doubles are coming. They put Draymond there because he's gonna get that. He's gonna slip, get the pass, and
right.
attack a 4-on-3 and get a good shot out of it. And the Heat don't
hell,
have anything out of that.
kick that back out, Frankie, and you could deliberately know that you want to work it all the way around the horn.
Hmm.
Put Caleb as the one in the corner. Let them like fake worry about that jump shot, but let him getting back to like jabbing right, ripping baseline, and then playing either that float, throw it up to
Right.
Bam. They have shit, and they just don't go to things. Or maybe they don't have shit. I don't know.
Right. Like we don't know. We're all at a
Maybe they
loss
don't have
right
shit.
now. We have no idea what they got. Um, I thought this would be kind of cute. I want to know because you guys you play on Twitter a little bit. Um, give me a fan complaint that you've seen that's either spot on or unhinged.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bon.
I didn't know how. Give me Brian, please go. I didn't know that's how we was formatting this.
Brian, you want
I
to
hadn't
jump
thought
in on
about
this?
Or
Which
Tiff,
one?
throw in.
Anything about Pat Riley being washed? Is that like is that one of them?
Is that your spot on or on him?
No, that's not spot on. I think it's just. Honestly, I think fans expect way too much out of a front office these days. They expect like if they lose like a 3-game losing streak to make a trade right afterwards, like they would on 2K. Like that's
Yeah.
not realistic.
Right.
They're gonna have to stick with this team until this trade deadline, and even then, I don't even know how much of a change they'll make in this roster at this point because it looks like the trade market is
It's
pretty
dry.
bare. Like there's too many teams that are contending right now. I don't think there's that many sellers. Like even the
Yeah.
Raptors, who I think would sell, probably won't sell into the offseason. Like I've seen rumors about OG, I've seen rumors about Fred VanVleet. Well, he might be the one that has to be traded just because he's up. If they don't trade him now, it's basically the same thing that happened to Lowry. They just let him go with free agency and walk because he's not opted out of his contract.
Right.
Apparently he says he wants Tyler Hero money. Is what was the report I read the other day.
Fred?
Um,
Ooh. Well, I wouldn't have given Tyler money, so maybe I would. I don't know.
But regardless, like I don't know, like I feel like this so far to me, this trade deadline is going to be underwhelming, and I think Heat fans are going to be upset about it because the offseason was underwhelming to begin with, and I think
Right.
Heat fans felt like the Heat maybe were going to just wait until the trade deadline and see how things played out with their current roster, see how they perform with the starting lineup that we mentioned earlier with Caleb starting and Tyler starting, and just to see how things would play out. And then if they needed to make a move, they'll make that move at the deadline. I just don't know who's out there, who's available that the Heat, one, would target, and two, would realistically give up any of their like few assets that they have to give up right now. This like the only piece I can think of outside of OG would be like maybe switching out Lowry for either a guard and a wing, and maybe getting 2 role players out of his one large size contract, which I think would still be smart to do.
Clippers.
The only other player I would really want would be like a package around Chris Paul. I would give up 2 first-round picks for that, to be honest. And I know there's been rumblings about maybe they might move him, Phoenix, and he's been playing really well this last month.
I'm not gonna lie,
2
y'all.
first?
I would give up 2 firsts.
So,
Listen.
but it doesn't matter if they. So we're just gonna have the best 2-man game. It is Chris Paul's not going to matter if the shooters aren't then also doing something themselves.
Chris Paul
And
is the
then
shooter.
Yeah, Chris Paul is a shooter, and to me, I think the offense would actually be like run way better than Lowry ever was last season. Like there was points of last season where Lowry was a good setup man, and then that went away, and they haven't gone back to that this season basically at all.
How many
making
years
him a
he has on
setup
his
man.
deal? How many years does Chris Paul have left on
He
his
has
deal?
so he
Chris
signed a
Christopher.
3-year extension this past offseason, I think. He has this year and then 2 more years left on his contract. Next season is half guaranteed. The final year of his contract is no guarantee. So they can get rid of him if they want and waive and stretch him.
Okay. Now,
if he like really is bad, they can
you
they can just dump that money and
if you
not have to
told
deal with
me
it.
if you said now Chris Paul and forward to be named later.
Jay
Yeah,
I'm
Crowder.
all
I
I'm
do it.
all in.
No,
I'm telling
man,
Well,
y'all.
there
no.
ain't no
I'm
one else on that team that I would want.
if it's a
Oh my
buyout,
God.
yeah. Now if they throw
Sure.
if he's a throw in with Chris Paul,
Yeah.
then I'm not
And
mad at
no
that.
tea, no shade, but
But I'm
like,
not giving
I
up.
don't.
First of all, I'm not swapping. If we're only getting Jay, I'm not swapping
Caleb.
I'm not moving
Caleb
Duncan.
for
I
for
personally
I'm
am
Jay.
not
saying we
moving.
get CP3 and J, and that'd be your
Right,
trade
but
deadline move.
that would be the only
I
way
do
I would
that.
do that. That's the only
I
But
way.
do
I
that.
I wouldn't even want to throw in the picks because I'd be like, yeah, I'm giving you
No,
Caleb's an upgrade over if you're gonna include Caleb, which I don't include it. I
I
Caleb's
can feel.
my upgrade for
I'd
Jay.
include Caleb.
I can
Well,
Caleb,
yeah,
feel.
you'd have to.
You give me
You have
Chris
to
and
include
Jay.
Caleb because that's where you're playing Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you put Caleb back on the bench where he should be.
No,
right.
I think if they get Jay in a buyout, the move is to dump
Yes.
Deadman somewhere
I don't think he's
for
getting bought
something.
out. I think
I don't
he's
think
gonna
he's
get
getting bought
traded.
out either. I think he's
No,
going to
he's going to
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's
Milwaukee. He's
He's
Yeah.
probably
going
gonna
to
go Milwaukee
Milwaukee.
because I think at Phoenix looks like they're trying to generate some sort of market for him, is what it looks like. They're
Mm-hmm.
even letting
Yeah.
Milwaukee like talk to him in
Right.
person. Um, to me, it feels like Milwaukee's just gonna let this play out into the deadline, and then whoever is the highest bidder, that's who they're gonna trade him off to. They don't really care at this
Right.
point like who they send him to. They're not gonna make Crowder happy. At this point, they're
Right.
done with like satisfying because I think they gave him enough time to find his own deal.
They
At this
did.
point, they're just going to take whatever highest bid they get. And if it's a team that's a contender, good for him. But at this point, I don't
Right.
know who else would really trade more than like a second round pick for him. And Miami could do it, but the contracts that they have to send out, I'd rather use in a different move.
Yes.
Yeah. First
Unless
of
it's in
all,
combination with
I'm
another
not even
player.
thinking about trading for a point guard unless
No.
that falls into my lap. I get it. Like
It would have
Kyle
to be an
has
upgrade.
been.
It would have to be an upgrade if I'm going to trade.
Right. Well, Kyle has been underwhelming. Like we can all agree he has been
Keep it above.
underwhelming. But like no shade, no tea. Like is that the biggest problem on the team? Absolutely not.
Sadly,
Because
no.
Combination of
because
things.
it's a combination of things. But the thing about it is that like if Kyle isn't playing well, girl, you're not gonna be in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, but to me, I think
Yeah.
Kyle's problem is that he's not even fitting as like just playing off ball anymore. He
Because
can't.
because he physically it doesn't look like he physically can. Like let's be honest. He starts out
And
well and then it seems like as the progresses, he loses momentum throughout the game. And
and
that's
then
to
there,
be expected.
He doesn't get the ball, and to me, I feel like that's like I'm not assuming like I mean Bond would know like ball is energy with players,
But
and
he's
he's
not
not
gonna
touching the
get
ball enough.
But he's
Yeah.
not gonna get it. Like
Yeah.
That's one
why I
thing.
don't
what,
know
Frankie?
why we thought
He's a rhythm guy. He's always been an on the ball guy. When he's off the ball, it's because the ball is moving. It's
yeah.
he's playing completely off the ball.
Him with the
Well,
second unit last season, the ball
yeah.
Yeah,
moved.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
There was
everybody
energy.
thought it was cute.
There was
Everybody thought it was
energy.
cute when you took Caleb and Tyler off the bench and put them in the starting lineup. But you
It's
got
the same
four
team. No,
you
it's
got
not.
four players out there that need the ball. That literally need it. They can't do much without it most of the time.
And that's why it feels like Kyle doesn't get it off ball because if you take, I wonder what, and I don't mean to pile on to the young man, but damn, like I wonder what Tyler's, I don't know if it's effectiveness, what is his, whatever the word I'm looking for without the lob to Bam, because a lot of what he is able to generate comes with the threat of him being able to. I'm either going to take this floater, I'm going to scoop it
Right.
up to Bam, and you're not going to know which one. And that's not a
Right.
knock to him, but it, like you said, with Kyle being a rhythm guy and someone who at least needs to feel it on occasion. Too, I'm okay with him kind of dictating some of the decisions, but I also need him as a piece in the moving of it. And
Right.
if it gets back to him on some, oh no, I see something here, then do that
Right.
point guard. But like otherwise, he feels like he fits better, or not fits better. I don't even want to jump into that, but like rhythm and
Right.
movement, and I
Well,
don't know.
I think that's like it, well with the question, what's on spot and what's unhinged. I think there's a mix of both of that when if you're talking about like Heat Twitter and Kyle Lowry. I think there is a lot of people who are on spot about like what he's given and what he can give. I think a lot of people are unhinged, thinking he's
What's some
the
unhinged
biggest
stuff?
problem. Well, a lot of people think he's the biggest problem with the team right now.
Well, that's no,
I
that's
got
not
I got
it.
a spot on one, and I'm
All
gonna
right, let's
cheat. I'm
go.
gonna take it from my guy John Jablanca, who I like to call John Agenda, because he's always got an agenda with his
Right.
stats. You know, always got a point to prove with when he just posts some stats. But he posted the
Work.
last three games, the lineups with Bam, no Butler, Lowry, or Tyler are minus 16 in net rating in 38 minutes, 87 offensive rating, 103 defense. Um, the worst part is the player stats. Struce 21 on 6 for 15. Gabe 16 on 5 for 16. Caleb 9 for on 4 for 7. Oladipo 8 on 4 for 17, and Bam 8 on 4 for 9. Why are we playing this lineup? The problem with that lineup is it's supposed to be a Bam featured lineup.
Yep.
Mm.
And if you I know I threw a lot of numbers at you. Struce, Gabe, Vic, all almost twice as many shots as Bam in that
Yeah.
lineup, and they're wondering why that lineup can't score. That earlier in the season, Tyler
Yep.
was in on that lineup, and they had a lot
Yep.
of good energy in there because you got to feature them, you got to play guys as spot up roles and play them off the ball and be really comfortable. And you got to
Yep.
hide Tyler defensively a little bit because you got to play him with better defenders who fit what he does well on
Right.
defense. It
Mhm.
lets him play team defense and not get
Yep.
hunted as well because the other guys could cover for him. And I thought that was a great lineup that I don't know why they've gone away from. But
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love the idea of and we saw Vic and Tyler develop some really good chemistry for
Yep.
stretches
They
early
should
on.
play more
They should play
together.
more together. I don't understand what these lineups are. They ran Spo ran a Caleb and the bench lineup last game for like, and they allowed like 20 points in like four
Yeah.
minutes. It was horrendous,
The,
horrendous
the
on both
game, I
ends.
haven't watched it yet. Is that the
Yeah.
game?
It
Oh,
it's in the third
Yeah.
quarter. It's in the third
Yeah.
quarter. In the end of
They
the third
look.
quarter, they blew a 20-point
Yeah.
lead. We're down 20 or down 10. Or it was a 20-point flip. My bad. And they were up 10,
mm,
went down 10, and he
Yeah.
calls a timeout in the early part of the fourth quarter, and he keeps the exact same lineup in.
Yep.
Doesn't make a single change. I'm like, okay, what are you going to tell them? Try harder, like your
And they
Almost
talents.
make that
no,
What?
comeback, and then they almost make a comeback late in the fourth quarter, and then
right.
obviously like there was like
no, that doesn't
there was
justify
one
it.
specific shot from Tyler
Yeah.
that really pissed me off because he was so wide open that he should have made it, and it would have been like a 1 point lead for Miami. And obviously they went back the other end. I think they made their own three. It was a 6 point. It was basically a 6 point swing, and that was basically the game from there.
Right.
But those aren't the like just to harp on
No,
that.
I
Like those
honestly
aren't
that
the
that lineup led to that moment,
yeah.
but that to your point, that's why this team plays so many fucking close games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the little thing. It's there's no margin for error for the
Yeah.
Nope.
coaches and for
None.
the
That
players.
hasn't
There's
been.
None.
no margin for error.
None.
And this was kind of evident to me last year. Like even some of the line, so everyone had gotten through their injuries, and the starters were back or whatever. But like there was a point in the season where, and I forget what number it was, but it's like your bench was in whatever metric more productive than what your starters were. And like that sounds like a cool,
Oh, it
cute,
was net rating.
like
It was net rating. They were
I'll take it.
outscoring the other team
Right.
with at least I think it was like two starters on the floor. So like predominantly
Our bench
bench.
was
Right.
outscoring. See,
Yeah.
that like that feels like a cool thing to boast about, and it would be again if you were continuing to feed the pipeline of the bench. You have not fed the pipe. You've
Right.
bled the bench and have not put
Yep.
anything else into it. And so
Yep.
like it's again a tiny kind of just back to the beginning. It's some of it does some of this makes complete sense. It's of no surprise, but I don't know. I do think the offense stabilizes some. I don't see them continuing to shoot this poorly. I
Yeah.
like kind of some of the stuff that they've been doing offensively up top, like this really shallow kind of weaving motion that I talked about in the first clip. They have stuff, and what I've really liked too is like the chunks of space on the floor that I
Yeah.
talk about. They've been just sending one through that and then bringing the ball handler kind of immediately through that. You're
Mm-hmm.
pulling, you're like vacuum sucking the defense and still
Right.
opening space, and we're getting things toward the back. It's like they have things. Um, I just I don't know.
Right.
It be some strange decision making sometimes.
Do you
The
guys
strangest.
do you guys think that the shooting might come back once this All Star break comes around and they have like that week off to like just kind of regenerate? And because to me that seems like the time where
A week
usually
is not
slow
long
teams
enough.
start to click.
Right.
It'll
And
start to click.
especially like for Tyler, he's been pretty good in the second half of seasons. Like last year, he was averaging almost like 28 a game for like that 2 week stretch coming off the All Star break. I don't know. Is that something you guys think could happen?
If your worry is just like starting to click again, maybe. But if it's tied into the physical demand and the
Yeah.
fatigue and all of that, then you set yourself up to that answer being no. Um, and I feel like we always talk in a vacuum. Like we always talk about like it's just Miami on the floor. Like other
Right.
teams don't set out to do and get better and like need breaks too and get guys back healthy and like all of this stuff. So
Um,
I guess in theory you should, and hopefully some of the offense figures itself out, which lends to that. But
Yeah.
based on just
Yeah.
a week to rest, no.
Right. I think the problem with me where I'm just kind of like where you think it should get better, but there's these little like, you know, these little air bubbles that keep popping up that they keep telling me, "No, Tiff, you trust where you were a week ago and stay there." Um because for
Don't
instance,
get
Cheers.
fooled.
don't get fooled,
Don't
but
fool
also
yourself.
here's an issue. Is Jimmy playing tomorrow?
no, I heard he's not
Yeah.
playing.
So there's
We got the
another
Cavs.
there's
Yep.
another what? Is that going to be another
Sorry,
35 to
Brass.
40-minute night for Max? Just running and
Probably.
guarding bigs. So
Yeah.
this is yeah,
We're gonna
so
have Max box. Oh god.
Max getting dunked on.
We got Max trying to box out Evan Mobley. Gabe on
Yes.
Evan Mobley.
Yes. Gabe,
It's
Max,
gonna
and
hurt my
Kyle are gonna be
fucking
trying to
heart.
box out Evan Mobley. It ain't gonna work. So those are the things that worry me because like you said, it's the physical demand that nobody thinks about that these people are taking constantly
You don't
because they're
understand what
out
that
of
shit is
position.
like.
They're out of position. They're playing heavy minutes, and they're like everybody keeps saying what they did last year. That wasn't supposed to happen.
It
This is where
wasn't.
there's some there was, it wasn't like now
So
where
to
we
win it again, you fucking with the
listen.
fate. The universe be like, all right, now, I gave you some the
So
first time.
so I don't know, and Brian, I think that's a good thing to kind of like, especially like tomorrow's game and Thursday. That's a good like thing to look out for to see like exactly what the shooters do. Um, One of the things that we do have to acknowledge, and I don't want us to feel like we're piling on the shooters and everybody this or that. Um, Max and Gabe aren't making as many threes, but they're making
Correct.
a lot of shots. So that's something that we have to take into account. And, the offense has to start looking different. If you feel like, you know, if Max is only going to give you two threes a night or three threes a night, but then he's going to go to the paint and then give you two layups, a mid range, and this,
Yeah.
like, you have to start thinking differently. You got to think outside of the box because they're scoring. They're just not scoring the ways that you want them to score.
Yeah.
I know they're not even taking as many threes this past month. I think they're taking just about as many mid-range than they are
Right.
threes, which leads me to believe that they're kind of just trying to find new ways to, float or like just find life in their offense. And
Right.
obviously nothing's really working to this point. Yeah.
It-
Carlton mentioned saying Gabe and Jimmy are questionable for tomorrow's game in Cleveland. So I saw that Jimmy was on the injury report. I didn't know that Gabe was on it too.
Yeah.
That's a big
What'd
deal.
you say, Frankie?
I was gonna say that I think part of their struggles comes from their lack of ball movement, like impactful ball movement. Guys hold on to the ball too
Mhm.
much. I've stressed on Twitter
We
a
don't
lot.
set good screens. We don't
don't set-
run to screens. We jog our asses and we don't make contact most of the times.
Yeah, and the guards had such a terrible habit of like running before the big has set a screen
Screen
that
is
they would get
set.
him into offensive
Yep.
fouls, and so the bigs are trying to react to that, and
Right.
there's not enough cohesion there. But it's this isn't all on any one person because Tyler does this,
Right.
Bam does it, Jimmy
Right.
does it. Caleb do it. They
Uh,
all catch it and hold. Vic does it
Yep.
too. Catch and hold. They catch jab
the
step,
last one that should
triple
be
threat,
doing it.
Right.
and they need
Uh,
to make quicker decisions with the ball,
yep.
and attack the advantage, attack the gaps. Like as you talked about the zone offense earlier, Siobhan, that's one of their biggest issues. They catch it and they hold. They have a lane to drive. They shoot the shot
Yep.
instead of attacking the lane. Shit like that. That
They
just
have the
kills me.
lane to drive. We don't settle in the middle, and I don't know if we feel like if we catch it in the middle, we have to shoot or operate from there. But just sinking the defense, people do it to us all the time. It's so Frankie, like it stresses me out. As much zone as we run,
Right.
that
Yeah,
when we see it, we don't attack
we have
it in a
no idea what to do with
methodical.
it.
We have no intentionality in our zone approach at all. It's nuts.
You get to the ball, you swing it, you have a lane, you drive, you force the next guy to step up, you move it to the next guy. Somebody slot
Right.
cuts, somebody drifts into space, so you can have the kick out pass. Like you can make something happen, but it's not only
You have
zone. It's
high low looks. They have high low looks in the zone
you
that
put
they
Bam in the
that
dunker
we don't.
spot. Vic drives to the basket. The guy helps. Throw it to Bam.
Right.
You shoot if he doesn't, you shoot the floater. You shoot the midi. Like there's a lot of stuff that is fixable, and
But it's
there
so much stuff. It's so much. It's all
it's
of it is
so much
fixable,
stuff.
but
It's
it's
Yep.
so
so much
much.
stuff. Like it's stuff that should have been addressed training camp with the returning
Yes,
group.
Right.
yes.
That you had all these guys returning. We're
They're not
51 games in.
practicing.
Yeah, they're not
No.
practicing. We're 51
No.
games
Of
in.
course not.
This is
Of
who
course
they
not.
are.
Right. This is so. With that being said, head to let's look ahead to the Cavs and the Knicks.
Okay.
Um, I
Big
mean,
Let me pull
games.
these
these
standings
are
up.
these are these are big games, especially in the standings.
Both on the road.
Let me
I
check
got
my
them right here.
check my
I got
You
phone
have the
pilot.
standings up. What
yeah.
can you tell us what's happening with the standings?
Heat are
Like you
currently
can
in
put them on.
sixth. They're 2.5 behind Cleveland. They're one game up on the Knicks.
Okay.
Knicks are in the seventh seed, so they are the final play-in spot. So like all this talk about they're good because of their 16-8 in their last 24.
Right.
They could go. They get a bad week. Bam misses any time. They can slip right back into the play-in.
You know what snuck up on us real quick? All of the time that motherfuckers felt like, oh, they're just figuring it out. Like we don't really care. It's still early. It's still too soon. Like all of that. All of that.
That's why I
Life
got
comes
so
at you
mad
quick.
yesterday.
Like
That's
That's why I got so
sports.
mad yesterday because it was like, there was
that.
definitely a time for them to get their shit together
Right.
early on. Like you can get some of those losses, but yesterday they were fully healthy. Nobody
Yeah.
missed that last game. And there's been
Yeah.
a lot of these really bad losses with them completely
Yep.
healthy and the other team not. And they need to
Oh
rack
no.
up wins. They need to
Well, it's
rack up wins.
also
Otherwise, they're gonna be fighting for the play-in.
Frankie. It's all like coach speak. It's rhetoric. We're figuring it out. We're doing this. We're doing that. Like
I saw some good things. Some
the
stuff we got to work
right,
on. I
right.
like what we did here.
When you started the season, you were already behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
Like you were already behind the eight
Yes.
ball when the
Yes.
season
Big.
started.
Like not even a little bit.
So that's that's a big thing. And you're playing two teams who are, there's been some slippage lately with both teams, but these teams are comfortable with who they are. They're gonna play their style of game, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Are they great teams? No, but they're good enough to go out there and mollywop us. Like, let's not act like they're not good enough.
How does
We don't match up well
Tiff?
with the
How do the
Cavs.
Knicks play? What
I mean,
They
do we match
everything is
up well
pollywop
going
with the
us.
through.
Knicks? What is the Knicks style?
Everything is going with Brunson. It's going whatever he wants to do. He either is going to pass that thing, which is second, because he's looking to score. Like I mean, I'm just telling him what it is. He's looking
I
to
love
score. What is he
Brunson.
averaging? 20 something a game.
Too
He's
many.
looking to score, and He's strong. He likes to get to the
Also, I
basket.
wild
He
card for
likes to
me.
use that shoulder. He likes
He's
to dip it.
strong.
He likes to get into
Yes.
the middle of the paint.
22, 22 and a half.
Uh-huh. He has a floater that is nice and not for nothing, but he will and can make the right pass. Like we can laugh
You
about
talk about
them.
him being strong.
Yeah.
He's
He's
fourth in
physically
the
strong.
league
You,
in
you, you talk
drives per
about him
game.
being
Up,
strong.
you hear that? Fourth in the league in
This
drives.
idea that like fourth in the league. This idea that like size is only effective in one way, like it's
Right.
just tall or it's just long. Like width isn't like stockiness. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's a stocky, strong
Strength.
dude, and it's
Yep.
so weird. Miami is so fucking perfectly positioned at being almost like right in the middle. We're not big. We are little vertically, and we are not like we strong, but we're not girthy. We don't have like I don't know, like well seasoned weight. We got like all
Right.
trained and cut up weight. Like we don't. I don't know. Like
I need a steal in that.
I don't
Goins
know.
and I were right. We should have traded for Jalen in the offseason.
Hey,
Bro, that
listen.
was I thought that was legit gonna happen because like that report came out saying that we were gonna meet with him and everything. And
It
then
got
like
so
literally
bad.
like 24 not even 24 hours later after we did that pod,
Right.
there's like reports saying that we weren't gonna meet with him. He was gonna sign with New York, which obviously we should have known, we should have realized because they've been tampering with him since like last year.
Right.
So like my expectations, like I was looking into like everything to like get him and John Collins on one at the time, which I kind of regret now saying, but ideally, like he would have been a good point guard to have on this roster, just because
Yeah.
like he fills a lot of the whole. Like obviously, defensively he's ass, but like at least offensively he gives you what exactly this team is missing with just the drive and kick, and the
Yeah.
3-point shooting is excellent, and he's a great playoff performer on top of that.
Yeah, he's good.
And he's a lefty.
I've watched
most
I've
importantly.
watched a few of their games, and I'm gonna say,
I'm sorry.
Yep.
it's very, it's no. I mean, I live in New York, but you know, they're not just Brunson. Like they've
No,
got a
right.
lot of little pieces that do a
Yep.
lot of little things.
They got
You
They're
know,
better
nice
this year.
guys.
That's for
yeah,
sure.
they're a
They're way
lot
better
better
this year.
And
Technically, we do too. Are there things doing their things?
Listen.
Our little things that's supposed to do the things ain't doing the things.
right. I mean, and the other thing is that what I think ultimately made them better, it's not the Julius Randle show. Like he's
Right.
still getting his shots and his opportunities, but the fact that they have Brunson who kind of sprays it around and makes sure that other people are in the action and like um all these other things, it does allow Randall to kind of play a more smoother game where he doesn't have to take 100 dribbles like he likes to do and then shoot like some ridiculous fadeaway. Like you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
They're
RJ's been
like
solid. They have a
all it-
nice little team. Quickly.
exactly. They have a nice little squad. I feel like physically though the Heat can match up with them. Like I'm not really worried about like matching up.
That's
with
to
them.
me. If I had to pick one of these next two games, obviously that's the game you expect them to win on the road. But
Yeah,
that's
I
if
do.
Jimmy plays, because I think he'll
and
miss
you're-
tomorrow. If I had to guess, and then he probably plays the game in New
Right.
York.
Right. The Cavs, on the other hand, I mean, they can look over the top of us. We're not
Yeah.
very big.
They're 5
So-
and 5 in their last 10, which is I haven't watched them enough to know why they're losing those games. To be honest,
Was
Same.
Mitchell out?
I don't. Is he out? Did he get hurt?
No, I think he's been here.
He's been playing.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
They
check
just
to see.
won. They just won against the
Bless you.
Clippers, and they blew them out too.
They blew the Clippers
Thank you.
out. They blew the Clippers
Yeah,
out.
Mitchell played. He only
See?
played 20
Okay.
minutes.
And so there's
but they barely played any of their
they're a
starters
team
more than
who's
20
been
minutes.
like roller.
So they
Yeah.
rested.
They've
They're
been
rested.
roller coastery themselves, but where their roller coaster began at is like higher than where. So we're both like doing the same kind of up and down shit, but
Right.
their baseline is different size, length, athleticism, the guard spots. Like
Right. So if you guys had to pick,
Mhm.
what's the record between these next two games? I'm gonna say 1-2. I mean, I'm sorry, 1-1.
two games.
1-1.
Oh yeah, you confused
Yeah.
me.
1-1. Yeah, I know. I looked and then I looked again. I'm gonna
Should
say
give him next
1-1.
Mel.
I'm gonna say 1-1. I'm gonna say this Heat season's been so annoying that they're gonna beat the Cavs and then lose to the Knicks.
Wouldn't
That'd be
that-
such a Heat way.
That would
It
that
would
would
be
be
such a
road
Heat
trip.
thing to do. Yeah.
to drop in a disappointing one.
Mm. Maybe they continue to disappoint and lose to the Cavs and like beat the Knicks, and we're supposed to feel good about it.
And they had Milwaukee on Saturday, 2 days later
Yeah.
after the next game at Milwaukee. And Giannis is back, and I think isn't Milden back now?
Yep.
I think so.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
they play
they're back.
Milwaukee after the Knicks. Oh, they're gonna lose to the Knicks. They're gonna lose to the Knicks.
Oh, you
They're gonna
think
get
we're
up for that Milwaukee
They beat-
game.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
You
I
losing.
don't expect Miami to win every single Milwaukee matchup this year.
No,
too.
I don't either.
No,
And you're losing
absolutely not.
space in the standings, only getting up for certain teams. Like that doesn't make sense to
Right.
me.
There you go. Right.
Middleton's
So-
been coming off the bench the last few games.
He gonna
He's-
start
he's
Saturday.
He's like on a minute restriction right now. He hasn't played 20.
He gonna start Saturday.
You know he is. You know he's gonna be back
He's
full.
been gearing up
full
for
go.
the Heat. Yeah,
He's
so
giving him
that's
40.
Exactly. That's where we are.
They have
Um,
8 games until the All-Star break, and 6 of them are on the road.
and they need to be like they have
They've
how
been bad
many?
on the road
8?
this year.
I mean, they need to be like 5-3.
All Star can't come quick enough.
5 of them are on the road, actually. 5 are on the
6
road.
and
They,
2?
What are these
they
next-
play 2 at home.
Yeah, this is
3 at home. 3 at home.
What are these next 8 games?
They got Cleveland, New York, Milwaukee this week. Next week, so they actually have a lot of time off between that Milwaukee game and then their next game. So they play Saturday, February 4th against Milwaukee in Milwaukee. Then they come back home and play Indiana on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
they
not gonna
have-
be an easy one either.
Yeah,
Halliburton's
they
back by
none of
then.
these are
Almost
easy
4 days
games.
off. That's actually a good break for them. So that's not bad. Then they have a day off after that Indiana game against Houston at home. Then they go to Orlando on Saturday, so it's a back-to-back. Friday and Saturday back-to-back. And then they play Denver at home. And then they finish out their last game before All-Star break against Brooklyn. That's on national TV
In Brooklyn too.
in Brooklyn.
Have we seen Denver yet this season? We've played Denver yet?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
lost at 1. I
We
think.
lost. Yeah, we
Barely.
lost.
It was at Denver.
At
Yeah.
Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This stretch right here is just giving
There's 3 winnable games at least. Should be
Janet
4.
Jackson. This is
But they
giving
can't go.
Janet
They
Jackson.
can't go 4-4 though. They have to go
This-
at least.
They have to be above
5-3.
500.
They have to
This
be at
is-
least 5-3.
Bond, this is giving
But I
Janet
need to-
Jackson nasty.
Which, okay. Look, Miss
Yes.
Jack. Okay.
This giving
But
Miss
what-
Jackson because this is
Okay.
not it. This stretch is.
Let me
Not for the
let me
faint
see
of
these
heart.
names in my face. I got
I'm gonna have to put Twitter on pause during this next stretch because y'all gonna be out y'all minds.
The Cavs
The
game.
Pacers game.
I'm
They'll
pleased
fuck
by
around
Twitter.
and lose to the Rockets. Like, ooh, I don't know. They could. Ooh, they could
Well,
go 4-4. They could go 3.
After the Charlotte
That would
game,
be
anything is
absurd.
possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
This is this could be a shining moment or I don't know, blow it up moment. I don't know what's happening.
Ooh.
But before we get out of
What if
here,
they went 8-0?
if anyone has any questions in the next minute, throw it in the chat. We'll get to it. But we do have one. Brian, do you want to read that question?
Are we
Franky
going to
sent over?
trades this stream? The other one?
Yeah, the other one. We talk trades. We talk some trades a little bit.
So the one I have, there's 2. The first one was asking about Aaron Baines. He's playing in Australia right now. If Miami would be interested in picking up, apparently they're like in the NBL. They're within like their last week of the season over there, so he could
Shout out to
potentially sign an
Australia.
NBA contract and play out the rest of the season. Miami wanted to sign him. They would have to sign him later on, probably after the deadline, to see if maybe they have more space under the luxury tax to make that move work. I would
Roster
obviously would only sign him if they needed like a center really that badly, but at
They
this
do.
point, I look at
What's
other
Aaron
options
Baines look
before I
like
go.
in the drop?
I don't know. He's 36,
He's
I
good.
think now. He's kind of old.
He's solid.
He
Did
was
he
bad his
Doesn't-
last year with the Raptors, and then he had
We
that.
been playing him
He
in
had
the
that.
switch.
Well, he had a really bad like injury
Yeah, the
for almost
leg
a whole
injury,
year that
right?
took him out. He was like I don't know what it was, but it was like he fell
Like a neck
basically,
injury or
and he had a neck injury,
Yeah.
but it was something related before that. But he fell down
Right.
like I read the story. He fell down like a flight of stairs, and he had to rehab for like a whole year before he can even come back and play, which is great for him. Like I'm happy that he's able to come back and play competition basketball. I just don't know if he's an NBA player still to this day.
Yeah. All right. And
Like,
then
could
the
he be
next
worse
one.
than Deadman? I don't know.
Not
Go
like
get
that.
me Dwight Howard. Find me Dwight Howard and just let Vic throw lobs to him. We're doing this Tyler Bam curling, just throw it in the sky thing. Just let me do that with
Brian's shaking his
Victor
head
No.
no.
and just
No, UD ain't letting
pop
that
this
happen.
shit.
UD would rather let this team Udonis Haslam. He hates him.
Man, and I love that man to death.
Jimmy
But
did
I'll be
too.
happy when that roster
Yeah,
spot
everybody
open
hates
up.
Dwight Howard on this Heat. Like to me, that
Jamie
he's not
wanted
a
to
Heat.
smack him in the finals.
Yeah, he's not a. He's
I
to
mean,
me, he's
sure,
not a Heat type of
fine, I
player.
guess.
He's
Fine.
too much of
No,
a
But I'm
goofball
talking about
sometimes.
it's the
I-
archetype.
DeMarcus Cousins would be a guy I want. I've been wanting him for like
I've
3
always
years.
liked Boogie.
Right.
I've been
Bam.
wanting him for
He's not
several
Boogie
years.
no more though. Now he's
No.
DeMarcus.
He's not Boogie,
He's
He's
DeMarcus
DeMarcus.
now.
Go
He's just
But I still
DeMarcus.
like him.
He's just Marcus.
Go
He
DeMarcus.
just Marcus.
I still really like him.
Brian, and when was
Yo,
the
do you
what
know
was
that
the
Go
other question?
DeMarcus video?
Yeah, the other
No.
question was
Oh my gosh.
so
Okay.
a question from Outback on our Discord channel. He says, how much, if any, of Bam's rise this season do you guys think can contribute to his participation in the Olympics, or has been contributed because he participated in the Olympics a few years ago? Like, how much do you think that experience helped his game? Was his question. I'll let you guys answer that.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it helped his game. I think maybe it helped his confidence. But as far as his
That part.
actual game, I don't really
Bingo.
like. I don't know how much behind the scenes he actually like did with guys and all those things. But I think confidence wise, I think that's probably what like gave him the biggest boost. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He's been quoted saying that his Olympic experience was awesome for him to know that he was like on that same level of like being with
That's
those
it.
like
Confidence.
all-stars.
Yep.
So he knew that he
Yep.
was at least good enough to be on an Olympic team. He's not like he's been an all-star player before. He'll
Right.
probably be one this season. So to me, it just gives him reassurance that he is on that level of playing field. Now, is he a superstar? Probably not yet, but he is a top 20 player probably at this point, which is still very good. I mean, to be honest, like I wish Miami could probably feed him more offensively than they do currently. Like he's playing great. I think they could probably use him more.
They can't use him more offensively unless they get him more help defensively.
Well, they need a better passer
Well,
to get
that
him the
part
ball.
too.
Those
I
short
think
roll
it's
passes
just
still
what-
suck.
They do, and they're so fucking open. I think it's a lot of what Tiff said. Like, it's confidence, right? Like he has the build and he has the versatility, and his build facilitates what he should be able to do with regards to a bag. And so I can fully see it as being on some like, oh damn, it was cool to know that I can hang with KD. Like KD admires me. We worked out. Like these dudes, I am peers with these people. As far as competitively, I know I'm probably beating on people in Turkey and like, Botswana or like whatever. Just,
They
I
played some
feel
pretty good
that-
teams. They played France twice in the Olympics.
Absolutely. And Spain is loaded. France is always loaded.
Argentina.
Slovenia is loaded.
Yes.
Argentina
Well, they
is
didn't.
always
They
loaded.
didn't. Did they play?
Kentucky
I don't think
Bam
they played
back
Slovenia actually.
Bam
It's-
got to be
it's- I think
Kentucky
it's-
Bam in the Olympics. It wasn't like
Yeah.
he got to like expand on his skill
Right.
set. Like I'm
No.
sure that
Right.
the confidence was the biggest thing, and and the recruiting, the recruiting.
Yeah.
That would be the
absolutely
biggest
helps.
thing.
Feeling wanted, right? Like
Feeling
y'all
loved.
want me to come do this
Oh,
thing.
I
That
thought Frankie
speaks
was
to what
talking
I
about
can
like
do.
what happened with Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh. Like maybe
Little bit,
4 years
little
from
bit.
now.
No, a little bit.
Maybe
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
come back.
But it's also very much so that those guys like guys around the league really love and respect Bam. You know, there's been quite a few guys who are like, they've asked them, who's your ideal big that you would want to play with? And guys would just randomly bring up Bam, just like give Bam some love. That's the guy that I would love to play with, compliment me defensively, rolls hard, sets good screens, passes the ball. Like he does all the little things. Obviously, we want Bam to be more than just that and find his confidence and stuff. And this season, like he set that goal of 15 shots a game, and he's reached that. He's been aggressive. He's done everything you could ask for on both ends. Like, could he be sharper? Yeah, but it's like Bond said. Like, you need to give him some help. Like,
Right.
you can't have him switching and drop and break up
Right.
all these plays. He can't guard the ball, and then when they throw the ball inside, he's got to break up the pass too. Like, he needs some fucking help. He can't pass the
Right.
ball to himself.
Yeah.
He needs something.
Yeah.
He's a Chris Paul.
Ooh.